Everyone says she's crazy. I always noticed an old woman sitting alone on a bench near my school. She never spoke to anyone, and her appearance seemed unusual. Some children called her crazy, and others even threw things at her. I used to laugh along, thinking she was just a strange old grandma. One day I felt pity and decided to sit beside her. She turned to me and whispered, "Today he will come." I was puzzled and asked what she meant. A tear slid down her cheek as she explained, "My son was taken away to war. This is the very place where we said goodbye 20 years ago." She showed me a picture of a little boy holding her hand on that same bench. I felt a wave of sadness. Just then, a car pulled up nearby. A man stepped out, holding a photograph in his hand. The moment he saw her, he stopped in shock. He rushed forward with tears in his eyes and cried out, "Mom, is it really you?" She stood up, embraced him tightly and said, "My son, they told me you were gone, but I never stopped waiting and hoping. If you cherish your mother, leave a heart and subscribe." While hurrying to the office, a woman accidentally bumped into her boss. "Michelle, you're 15 minutes late," he said. "Sir, could I borrow your phone, please?" she asked nervously. "Why? I left my bag and phone in a taxi," she explained. The boss handed over his phone and she quickly dialed a number. "Hello, this is Max," a man's voice answered, the taxi driver. "Sir, you have my phone. I left in a hurry. Could you bring it back to me? I'll pay you $200. Thank you so much." Not long after, the driver arrived with her bag. Michelle quickly opened it, took her phone, and said, "Thanks, you can go now." "Ma'am, the $200 we agreed on," the driver reminded her. "What? Are you trying to cheat me? I already paid the fare. We never agreed to that amount. Please leave now. I canceled another passenger just to return this," the driver said. "Listen, mister, it's your responsibility to return lost property. I won't pay you for simply doing the right thing. In fact, let me count my money. You might have stolen from me." At that moment, her boss walked in. "Sir, this man is trying to take advantage of me," Michelle claimed. The driver bowed slightly and started to leave, but the boss stopped him. "Michelle, you were late today. I let it slide earlier, but your fine is $300. Hand it over." Reluctantly, she gave him the money, only to see her boss immediately pass it to the driver. "Thank you for doing the right thing," he told him. "We used to call him Flower Boy and make fun of how he looked. Every day, my friends and I would see this quiet classmate standing on the corner trying to sell flowers, even in the rain. We found it amusing. 'Look, there's the Flower Boy!' we'd yell, laughing as we walked by, but he never reacted. He didn't shout back, didn't even show anger. He just stood there silently, clutching his flowers. One rainy afternoon, we saw him again, soaked from head to toe, still holding on to those wet flowers. Out of boredom, we decided to follow him, thinking it would be funny. He walked for a long time until he finally stopped at the cemetery. Our laughter slowly died. He knelt down at a grave, carefully laid the flowers, and whispered, "Happy birthday, Mom." His voice was trembling, but he held back his tears. We were frozen, standing there in silence as the rain slid down our faces. From that day forward, none of us ever mocked him again. If you're against bullying, show your support with a like and subscribe. A father lived with his son and daughter-in-law. As time went on, the old man grew frail. His legs could no longer support him, and his hearing became poor. Whenever he ate, food would slip from his hands and drop to the floor. One evening, while the family was having dinner, the elderly man accidentally let his plate fall, and it shattered. Annoyed, the daughter-in-law scolded him and said, "From now on, you'll eat separately on the floor." The following night, as they gathered for dinner, the couple's little boy noticed his grandfather sitting on the ground, struggling to eat alone. The child couldn't bear it. With tears in his eyes, he said, "If Grandpa must eat on the floor, then I will too." He sat beside his grandfather, helped him eat, and afterwards cleaned up the mess. Wrapping his arms around the old man, he showed pure love and respect. The son and his wife sat in silence, their eyes filled with tears. In that moment, they realized how harsh they had been and how deeply their father deserved kindness and honor. One day, a wealthy man hired a new maid for his mansion. "I've heard you're very skilled," he said. "You must clean every room here daily." The maid agreed. While working, she discovered secret spots where the rich man had hidden money, gold jewelry, and rings. "These treasures could make me wealthy for life," she thought. Another time, she stumbled upon even more valuables. Just then, the rich man's daughter entered. "You mustn't touch those," the daughter warned. Embarrassed, the maid apologized and quickly left. One day, the maid fell ill and couldn't come to work. When she returned, the rich man dismissed her. "What did I do wrong?" she asked. He handed her a long list of expensive items. "All of these disappeared after you arrived," he accused. "Please, sir, let me explain," but he cut her off. "My daughter saw you, thief!" Without another word, he threw her out. Days later, while searching his daughter's room, the rich man discovered a hidden box. Inside were all the missing valuables. Shocked, he immediately called the maid. "It was not you. It was my daughter. I wrongly accused you without evidence. Please forgive me in return."
I always thought my neighbor was dangerous. Almost every night I'd hear children screaming from his house. He looked creepy, never smiled, and always stared at me strangely. I told my parents, I think he kidnaps kids or is up to something bad, but they just laughed and said, he's just an old, quiet man. Stop imagining things. Still, I couldn't get it out of my head. One day I decided to investigate. I climbed over his backyard fence and noticed a door slightly open, with noises coming from inside. My heart pounded as I pushed it open, expecting the worst. But what I saw shocked me. Children were laughing, eating snacks and playing games. And the scary neighbor, he was smiling, playing with them too. Confused, I asked, what's going on here? He looked at me gently and said, these children come from broken homes. Some were abused, others abandoned. I adopted them so they could have love and a safe place to live. Maybe he wasn't scary after all. If you think he's a good man, leave a heart and subscribe.
Late at night, a woman was having her meal when a small girl walked up to her. Excuse me, ma'am, can I have this water bottle? I'm very thirsty. The woman smiled kindly and handed it over, but suddenly the restaurant owner stormed in. How many times have I told you not to come here? You're disturbing my customers. Next time I'll break this bottle on your head if you don't stop. She shoved the girl outside. The woman frowned. That was cruel. Cruel? That little brat and her grandmother keep coming here bothering everyone. I've warned them plenty of times. The old woman hasn't been around lately, but this girl won't quit. This is my business. Don't lecture me, snapped the owner. Ignoring her, the woman brought the girl back to her table. She'll eat with me, she said firmly, offering food to the child. After a few bites, the girl smiled sweetly. Thank you, ma'am. I'm full now. I'll take the rest home for my grandma. She's not well. The woman asked the owner to pack fresh food for her instead. Then she said, all right, little one, take me to your grandmother. They walked to a small, run-down house. The girl ran inside excitedly. Grandma, I'm back. But her grandmother lay motionless on the bed. Grandma, please wake up. I brought food, the girl cried. The woman's heart sank. She gently pulled the girl close and whispered, my dear, Grandma has gone to heaven. Whenever you miss her, just look up. She's watching you. The child burst into tears and the woman hugged her tightly. From today, you'll stay with me. No matter how harsh the world is, never lose your kindness. A young boy was being chased by the police. Terrified, he rushed into his home, trembling. His older brother noticed his clothes and hands covered in blood and froze in shock. The boy was too scared to say a word. Looking out the window, the older brother saw police cars surrounding the house, sirens blaring. A voice called out, you have 5 minutes to surrender. Without hesitation, the older brother turned to him and said, give me your shirt. I'll clean off the blood. Moments later, the younger brother heard the back door slam. He ran and saw his big brother walking straight toward the police, wearing the bloody shirt, his hands raised. No, don't do this, the younger brother cried out in tears as they took him away. Days later, the trial began. The younger brother sat in the courtroom, heartbroken, as he watched his elder brother being sentenced to life in prison for a crime he never committed. Unable to bear it, the boy broke down and shouted, it was me! Please, don't punish my brother. He's innocent. Just then, the police entered with CCTV footage revealing the real criminal. The boy was proven innocent. Through tears, he asked his older brother, why would you do that for me? His brother replied, because I'm your big brother. I'd give my life to protect you.
Her brother was always given the best. New toys, delicious food, and nice clothes. She grew up knowing that her parents favored him, while she was often neglected and only given the bare minimum to get by. As the years passed, her brother became spoiled and unmotivated, but she worked hard, excelled in school, and eventually earned a full scholarship to college. After graduation, she landed a job at a successful company, earned a high income, and bought her own house, living independently. One day, she discovered that her brother had sold their family home and thrown their parents out. With nowhere to go, they ended up living on the streets. Heartbroken, she rushed to find them. When her parents saw her, they broke down in tears, finally realizing how unfairly they had treated her. Despite their past mistakes, she forgave them and welcomed them into her home. Meanwhile, her brother's reckless life led him to prison. In the end, no matter how hurtful her parents had been, she still chose to honor them because they were her parents. I was riding the bus with my 2 kids chatting on the phone when I suddenly realized I had forgotten my baby in the stroller back at the bus stop. Panic rushed through me. I shouted, well, stop the bus! But it was already moving. At the next stop, I jumped off and ran back as fast as I could. From a distance, I saw a man pick up my baby. He looked homeless, and my heart sank. Help! He's taking my baby, I cried. People quickly surrounded him, shouting, "You're a kidnapper!" The police soon arrived and asked, "Is this your child?" The man replied calmly, "No, but I didn't kidnap her." The stroller was rolling into the street and a car was about to hit her. I rushed to save her. I froze, feeling ashamed. He looked at me and said, "Don't be so quick to judge others."
Once in a class, the students were very extremely hard-working and competitive. Every semester, they pushed themselves to achieve the highest grades, making their parents proud. But everything changed when a new student joined the class. It quickly became clear that he came from a very wealthy family. Each morning, the students crowded by the window to watch him arrive in a shiny Ferrari. During lessons, instead of paying attention, he would take out the newest smartphone and start playing games, ignoring the teacher completely. The next day, he brought cookies for everyone and gathered his classmates around his desk. They played, laughed, and joked together without a care. Over time, the teacher noticed a big drop in the students' performance. Parents began complaining that their children had become careless about school. One day, the teacher came up with an idea. When the students entered class, they saw a large screen in front of them. Suddenly, a video began to play, showing their parents working tirelessly under the burning sun, carrying heavy loads with rough, blistered hands, often without food or water, just to earn money for their children's education. Seeing this, the students broke into tears. The teacher reminded them, always value your parents' efforts, and never waste the sacrifices they make for you. Every day, a young boy played by himself on the playground. The other kids avoided him and sometimes even mocked him. One afternoon, a stray dog wandered over. Unlike the others, the dog wagged its tail and wanted to play. The boy threw a stick, and the dog happily ran after it, returning it with excitement. For the first time in a long while, the boy felt like he had a real friend. But then, another boy came along. Out of jealousy and spite, he snatched the stick and tossed it onto the road. The dog chased after it and tragically was hit by a passing car. The boy ran to the dog's side, crying as he carefully pulled it off the road. His little hands shook with fear and sadness. The next day, the boy sat alone again on the playground, missing his only friend. Suddenly, a kind man approached him and said softly, "When you pulled the dog from the road, I took him to the hospital. His leg and ribs are broken, but he will live." The boy's face lit up with joy. Tears of relief filled his eyes as he hugged the man tightly. Not long after, he noticed something else. The bully who had caused it all now had a broken arm. The man smiled gently and said, "Life always returns what we give. You gave kindness, and life returned kindness to you through your dog. He gave cruelty, and life returned cruelty to him." A little girl with bright blue eyes walked into a pharmacy and asked the pharmacist, "Excuse me, do you sell God?" The pharmacist frowned, surprised by her strange question, and said sharply, "Don't joke around, little girl. Leave at once." Feeling hurt, the girl quietly walked out. She then entered another pharmacy and asked the same question, "Do you sell God?" This time, the old pharmacist smiled gently and asked, "Why would you want to buy God, my child?" The girl replied, "My father is in the hospital. He got hurt while on duty. I heard my mother telling the doctor that only God can save him now, so I thought maybe I could buy God here and give him to my daddy." The old man handed her a small bottle and said, "Here, take this. This is God. But one thing is missing. Before you give it to your father, go to a church, close your eyes and pray, 'Dear God, please heal my daddy.' Once you do that, the bottle will be complete and you can take it to him." The little girl followed his instructions, prayed sincerely, and then gave the bottle to her father, saying, "Daddy, take this. It will make you better." A few days later, something incredible happened. Her father recovered. The girl smiled to herself and whispered, "Thank you, God." A 15-year-old boy named Sam lived in a modest, middle-class family. Among all his relatives, he was especially close to his grandmother. Every day when he returned from school, she would give him some pocket money to lift his spirits. Sam often dreamed that once he became successful, he would buy his grandmother a car as a gift. One day, his grandmother suffered a severe heart attack, and her condition became critical. The doctor informed the family about a special injection that could potentially save her life, but it was extremely expensive. Sam's family desperately asked others for financial help, but no one stepped forward. Helpless and in tears, Sam stood by his grandmother's side, unable to do anything since he was still just a student. Sadly, his grandmother passed away because the family couldn't afford the treatment. Sam's dream of making her happy was crushed. Years later, Sam became a highly successful man. To honor his grandmother's memory, he founded an NGO that provides free medical care to the poor. He had made a promise after losing her that no one else should lose their life simply because they couldn't afford treatment.